youtube.com/Geek Aloud. It's Thursday night, it's 8 p.m-ish, and it's a close-ish this evening. Of course, I'm joined by Bully. Bully, how are you this evening, sir?
Oh, I'm doing very well, back at home after a bit of an absence.
Perfect.
Sorry, a bit of an absence last week, so and we're missing Dunkey again this week, unfortunately, but
We are.
That's all right. We'll power through, and hopefully we'll have the three of us back together next week.
Fingers crossed, and we'll finally have the 1-year-old party that we've been planning, but haven't quite had all three hosts together to execute on such a plan. But what I can tell you, fine viewers, is the run of the show this evening. We start off with games, Interrogation and Deliberation. It's the 6 games Bully and I have been playing this week, and we'll take a deep dive and walk you through those. And boy, have we had some fun. There's some off-the-wall stuff in there. Then, of course, it's the news segment. Now, in Unky's absence, Bully has put on the boots and kicked in all the doors for us. So, Bully, mate, were you successful? Have you kicked in a few doors? Have you gathered some stories?
Oh, I think we've got a few stories, bit of interesting ones. I think we were just discussing just before. There's one that I'll come in a bit blind to, but nevertheless, I'm sure we'll kick our way through that one.
Perfect. It'll be a lot of fun. And then everyone's favourite segment, it's the standoff. Now, Bully, I really honestly have no idea. Open question. Did you produce this one, or is this an Unky remote special?
I think this is an Unky remote special, but it seems to be quite lengthy tonight. So a few choices for the viewers out there, and we'll see what we come up with.
I love it. Do you want to give me the constraints at this time, or should we move on into the 4th segments?
Oh, no, it's all right. So just in honour of God of War, which has gone gold.
What? I was sure that wasn't coming out till next year.
What have we got now? Less than 4 weeks for them to push it back, and you'll be right. So we'll see how we go. But in lieu of that, we're asking what's the best PS5 exclusive game. Obviously, God of War will be an exclusive for the system. And
yes,
we're asking for this evening, what is the best PS5 exclusive game? And not an update for the PS5. It must be a PS5
native
title.
I love it. Excellent work. And then it's segment 4, which is audience interrogation deliberation. Now, this is where I need to ask all the fine viewers as we go along, please, comments, thoughts, and questions into that YouTube chat. Fill it up. We will round it up in segment 4. It'll be a pleasure to get to your question at that time. And I hope you've got some questions there for us. But, of course, we like to start with games, interrogation, and deliberation. All right, first up this evening, you can see it's everybody's most played multiplayer game of the week. Actually, it wasn't mine. Almost was, though. It should have been Overwatch 2. Bully, I take it you're lead investigating us through your experience with Overwatch 2, mate.
Look, it's a bit of a new experience for me. I never got into the first one, so jumped into it blind pretty much. I've seen a bit of gameplay across the years, but and know it's a hero-based style shooter, but didn't really know the ins and outs of it. So I jumped into, it's obviously this version, number 2 is free to play, so I jumped into that. Had a bit of a look at it this week. I have to say, I know it'll have its supporters and its fan base, but it leaves in my mouth. It just leaves a bit of a bad taste in that. It's sort of, I know there's a tutorial in it, but you get dumped into the gameplay. You start playing it, and you're just getting shot from every angle that you're looking at, and then all of a sudden you're dead and reload, start again, and it just seems to be an ongoing sort of process. Now I'm no means a world beater at first-person shooters or anything of that sort of ilk. But having said that, to just be consistently bombarded like that without, I don't know whether it's a matter of increasing a skill tree or any of that sort of stuff. I haven't really gone into it that far. So
no, I don't think it is, mate. I don't think there are any skill trees. Each player character has their own basic sort of skill set, and then every character has the most limited moveset. I don't think that by default there's a double jump or a sprint or anything for anyone. I think it's run/jogging and crouching and shooting about the only main staples. But they've taken out like pull the left trigger in to aim down sights, except for like one or two of the. Now, what are there? Are there 30? There's almost 30 characters, aren't there? I'm blanking. Oh, if we look on the screen up here in a second at my shelves, there's about 30 characters, and I think only about 4 of them can actually aim down sights. They're on screen there. Have a quick count. But to your point, mate, yes, each character is sort of its own class that you need to learn, but not only from a playing standpoint, an active standpoint, you also need to learn how to defend from it so you're not shot from everywhere. So very much to your point, Billy, I'm getting shot by all kinds of projectiles from all kinds of people from all kinds of angles that I do not have the experience to know who's shooting me, where they're shooting me from, and what I should be correctly doing to counter. Sorry, mate, back to you.
No, that's all right. I think what you're going to need to do if you're new to the series, I haven't put a lot of time into the first one. For me, it sort of looks like you're going to have to put a lot of time into learning the ins and outs of each map and the little nuances and the little hidey holes and the back ways through and all that sort of stuff. You're going to have to really try and narrow down 1 or 2 characters.
Yes.
And focus your time and your effort on learning those characters, learning their skill set, learning their move set, and sort of getting it through that way. And then I think if you put enough time in it that way, you would probably get to a stage where you're fairly competent in it. But as a pick up and play, multiplayer game, I'm generally a fan of one that you can jump into, have a couple of games. You don't play it for a couple of weeks or a couple of months even, and you jump back into it, and it only takes you 1 or 2 games to get back in the swing of it and start learning things again. But
yeah,
this seems like something you're going to have to put a lot of time into and keep going back to the well.
Yes.
To keep your skill set up. Otherwise, you're just going to get blown away.
You are, and sorry, just furthermore on that point, this is also one of those games where they hotfix stuff constantly. Like this one specific character's one skill got either tweaked up or down, and it can change the entire flow of game. But you're just looking at, the cooldown on one person's special weapon has increased or decreased by 10% or something. It doesn't sound like a lot, but then you get in there, and it can drastically change the way. If it's your main character, it can drastically change the approach you need to take for every round. It is really susceptible to vast changes in small amounts of time.
Yeah, and I suppose that's the other thing as well. You touched on it a bit there with the. We had a quick game this afternoon, and I brought up with them was the aiming down the sights, so the trigger to aim down the sights, which is a staple of first-person shooters, and it has been for over a decade now. And that is my first go-to move was to pull the left trigger.
Yep.
And get that zoom in or aim down the sights, and and it doesn't happen, and it's completely thrown me for a loop. I almost can't grasp playing it without using that sort of mechanic.
Yes, yeah, totally understandable, man. Like if we compare it to maybe like a Call of Duty, I would argue there's really only one class. Expanded out, maybe a Battlefield, you could, I think, make a solid argument to 4 classes in Battlefield. But this game has like 30 classes. They're all like 30 unique builds. So to your point, mate, you would need to invest so much time. I think that like a short version of learning this would be to only ever play one character out of the 30 that suits your play style, and then just learn the defense required for the other 29 characters. But that's still a massive investment. Whereas Call of Duty or Battlefield, you can just learn the one basic skill set. And to your point, mate, take a couple of months off, come back. It's one class and not a lot's changed. But Overwatch can change dramatically real quick. So, yeah, I'm not sure I personally will invest the time to master this game on any level. It sounds like maybe you will be moving on in shorter order as well, mate.
Oh, I think so. And to your other point there, I think if you're going to go to the effort of putting in time and effort to really learn the ins and outs of the class that you're using, and then they go and do the hotfix and it changes, and all of a sudden you go, hang on, everything I've learned over 40, 50 plus hours of playing as his characters now, it's completely blown out of the water with my game style and how I was doing it.
Yep.
I'm basically back to point zero. I've now got to pick another character or persist with that one and learn it again, and then hope that they don't hotfix it out again.
Yes.
I just don't think. I know it was fairly popular, the original one, but I don't think it had anywhere near the amount of characters in it.
I'm relatively confident it was 16 characters for the first year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I just can't. I've had a couple of games, but it might drag me in just just to see if it changes with another half a dozen or so games. But I really can't see myself persisting with it, and even though it's a free to play, I haven't really looked into where the monetary side of things is coming from in terms of whether it's loot boxes or whether it's just cosmetic sales. Or
Yeah, no, I can tell you, mate. It's definitely following the modern, your Fortnite formula. There's a battle pass that you pay for, and then there's a in-game store that has a lot of paid-for cosmetics. But it's your traditional battle pass, and then convert real dollars into fake dollars and buy their outfits.
Yeah, look, and for something to grab me to be able to get the battle pass, it has to grab me fairly quickly, and it has to sustain interest
Yes.
for a fairly long period of time before I'll even think about it. Because I'm not going to play a game for a couple of months. A couple of days or a week or whatever it is, and drop the money on the battle pass day one. Just hoping.
Yeah.
I'll look at it 2 or 3 months down the track and say, hey, I'm still playing this. It's a pretty good investment. I'm getting my money out of it. I'll buy the battle pass now, but I just can't see it with this one, and that's on top of all the server issues and stuff that they had.
That's true. They've cleaned those up greatly. Are you still encountering, any online service issues?
No, I haven't, but I understand that there's always going to be teething problems and that sort of stuff, and from my understanding, they've come out and apologised fairly quickly for it.
Yeah.
Fairly quickly rectified some of the issues, but it's just one of those things, I guess. I sort of look at it and go, there's probably a lot of people that try to jump into it in the first day or two when they were having those issues and were trying to play through it, couldn't get on a game. Where I think at some stage there was ridiculous amount of times of, tens or dozens of hours of wait time that was coming up for trying to get on a server.
Well, I think the highest I saw was a queue of it was either 40,000 or 400,000 back in queue. Like, it's ludicrous.
Yeah, and there you go. Then I don't know how many people I would have lost from those issues as well. So whether you look back in maybe 6 months' time and say, well, the issues with the launch, the issues with having so many characters and classes to learn and all that sort of stuff, is it going to be viable down the track? I don't know. I guess time will tell. But I don't think I'll be one of those that's propping it up for too long.
No, well, have you looked? I know we discussed the Battle Pass, but have you even gone through the main menu to pull up the Battle Pass stuff? Have you nosed around in it at all?
No. I just sort of, as you said, I sort of start looking at that sort of stuff further down the track once I've sort of got my
fair enough
head around the game and a few of the nuances and whether I'm going to actually invest in it. That's when I start looking at that sort of stuff.
It makes perfect sense, but my point that I want to make is that they have done nothing with their main menu structure to float any of the Battle Pass stuff. If you look at your Fortnites, your Call of Duties, your Battlefields, you can see they always put 2 or 3, or Halo does it as well, Infinite. They put 2 or 3 of the Battle Pass objectives up, and Rocket League does it, and Apex Legends does it on the main menu. So there's always a carrot from the main menu. You can see, if I jump into this game mode now and do this objective, hey, I can earn a couple of XP bars towards, the next tier. But Overwatch is clearly it's so just Overwatch 1 with a paint job on it. Back when, 2015, I want to say, Overwatch 1, or was 2016? Back when they did it, Battle Passes weren't what they are today. They were. I don't even know if they were a thing. But it's so far back in the menu system, they're doing nothing to help themselves sell the Battle Pass. Call of Duty, I would argue, are the best at it. They surface it, not only on the main menu have they surfaced a couple of challenges from the Battle Pass, but they've also got what your next unlock is from the Battle Pass, which takes you directly to their store. The menu structure, the base menu structure of Overwatch 2 needs a serious overhaul to really make sure that carrot's in front of your face to get you coming back, to get you playing those rounds. So if you look at it here, it's just that's the main menu right there. It's you got to click down to get into the Battle Pass, and then when you open it up like that, where are the objectives? You can't even see the objectives. You've got to go over to the side menu and click in to get it. If they want to sell this Battle Pass, they need to surface so much more of that UI back out to the main menu. Anyway, that's just my final gripe. That's my final point. I've enjoyed my time with it. It's free to play. Like you, Bully, I'm not paying for that Battle Pass yet. I'll keep my powder dry on that one and see how they go. There's some interesting challenges in there, but it's way too clunky to navigate. It's way too hard to get to that Battle Pass. So, to your point, mate, Season 2, Season 3, maybe they'll have tied it up and surfaced a lot of that content. But for right now, there's not a whole lot pulling me back in. Any final thoughts from you, Bully?
Well, just to your point, I sort of look at it and go, well, they've made it free to play.
Mm.
Where's the necessity for it?
Yeah.
For a number two, if you're going to make it free to play, if you're going to change it to a season pass or however you want to structure it, why don't they just keep number one, give it
Yep.
a paint, give it a bit of a tweak,
Yep.
introduce some new characters if you like, throw the battle pass in there or the season
Yep. Yep.
pass, and just keep what you've got, because now you've got two groups of people. You got the group of people that really enjoyed the first one, that have invested all that time and effort,
Yep.
might not necessarily want to jump over, and there you've got these other people that have decided they're either going to jump into it from the get go, from nothing, or they're going to jump over from the first one.
Mm.
And like you said, it's a jumbled mess that they're trying to work their way through it. I just don't understand the necessity for it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree completely with you, mate. And back to my earlier point, I don't think you were on the show. I think it was with Unky Dunky, but I think I highlighted and I confirmed to a level that I was satisfied with myself. I haven't read it anywhere, but I swear to God, on the PlayStation 4 version, you are still playing Overwatch 1, and they've just called it 2 and updated the thumbnail. But there's a whole controversy there that no one's dug into, but I swear we are still playing the Overwatch 1 as far as PlayStation 4 is concerned, which I think is absolutely hilarious. But yeah, with no final points on that, I'll bring us to game 2 this evening, which is Lego Bricktales. Now, I know you haven't gone hands-on, Bully, and I need to let everyone know the code was supplied to me for the install video for this video, which is up on the channel and available if you're on the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5. That install's available on the channel. Both of them very low-cost entry, sub 10 gigs, and I want to say the PlayStation 4 version may have even been sub 1 gig. It's a tiny game, but a heck of a lot of fun. This game, it's not your traditional Lego fare where it's, we've taken a film franchise like an Indiana Jones or Harry Potter and converted it into like a Lego no one speaks, but little sort of comedy drama, third-person action adventure. This is far more your traditional Lego fare, and I'm talking about real world here. There's a little bit of in-game stuff where you go around and you can interact with NPCs and she'll give you an objective, but then it's to progress along the story, you need to get over the river below you, so you'll need to build a bridge, that sort of thing. For her, before you spoke to her, you had to build the structure to make it stable to walk on. So there's very minimal in-game 3D world sort of excuses for what you're doing, but the bread and butter, the minute-to-minute gameplay of this is actually when you see it open up, and it's very much like the real world. Here's a handful of Lego components, an object, build a bridge, build something to get over, or stabilize a structure that's already there. Here's just a limited set of components. Click them all in together and see if it works. And then sort of you hit the run and there's a robot, like if it's a bridge and you need to clear a gap, you put in the bits, you hit run, a simulated Lego robot comes up and tries to traverse over it, will fall down or won't fall down, but it's all in this sort of, like a blueprint sort of space where you build it and test it. And then once you've tested and you successfully pass the test, if it's build a bridge, the robot gets across it, you hit triangle to finalize, and then it pops back out into this view you're looking at now. And you can see under that base there, that really obscure structure. That's the one that I built, clicking together. And then it just goes in, and here you go, that little guy I see on screen there, your floating little friend, he leads you around by the tooth, but it's like, come into this room, and there'll be 2 or 3 challenges in this room, you'll solve those, and then you go back out and progress the story. And the theme, the overworld, if you will, is your grandfather runs a Lego theme park. He's Lego, you're Lego, everyone's Lego, you're in a Lego world. He runs a theme park, but it's all fallen down, and he sent off his little robot invention into space. That's the blue thing you can see hovering there. The aliens have got hold of it, upgraded it, sent him back to you, so it's now like a alien AI floating robot that leads you around the place. But it's just an excuse to be given a handful of, here's 10 or 20 Lego pieces, whatever. Can you build a bridge? Can you build a tower? Can you build a whatever? It's a lot of fun, and it's prime fun if you've got a young fella, like I've got 2 young boys. Bully, I know you've got a couple of young kids as well. Like, if you've got a chance to sit down on the couch with a younger person, let them have a crack, maybe jump hold of the control yourself, offer a few suggestions, hand it back, work through it together. It is such a great bonding experience for little kids. Bully, have I given you the broad strokes? Does it make any sense to you?
Yeah, you have, and it's probably a bit more than what I thought it was initially. I know you briefly touched on it this afternoon when we were having a chat, that it was sort of like the bridge construction side thing.
Yeah.
It seems to be that, but a bit more than that as well. So you've got different elements to it, which I suppose mix
Yeah.
it a little bit and keep it fresh. I'll just, I'm a sucker for Lego games. I reckon, ever since the first Lego Star Wars and those sort of ones, and I know there's
Yeah.
some before that, but all those Lego branded games that have come out with all the different franchises and stuff like
Yes.
that, I've loved them. And
Yeah, they're all great. Yeah.
yeah, and the humour that goes with them, and you can say a 40-something-year-old bloke, what are you doing playing Lego games? I still love them.
Yeah, I'm
So
a big fan of them, but this one particularly, like the ones you were referring to, those narrative ones really have something to pull you through the experience. Where this one is much more, I think, dependent on having someone on the couch with you as a solo experience, even for a young kid. I don't think there's quite enough going on in world to pull you through it.
yeah,
Like from a story specifically point of view, there's still great pop culture references. They still do hilarious callbacks like, you're an adventurer. Do I go up the path there? Has it already happened? You go up to her at one point, she gives you a whip, and any independent adventurer should have a whip. Any indie, in quotes, should have a whip. It was, just great references to, and there's hundreds of them. They're all, different literature and pop culture, little in-world puzzles like this. It's a heck of a lot of fun. Sorry, Billy, back to you.
no, I was just going to say, I was going to ask exactly that, but you seem to have covered it. Does it have those little humorous references and little bits and little nuggets and Easter eggs and stuff that have been through most of those Lego games? But by the sound of it, it does, and that's the thing that always keeps me going with them, even if you're doing them by yourself.
Yes.
Those little pieces of Easter eggs that pull you through and go, and you get a bit of a chuckle out of it sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that sort of stuff. But it's sort of, to me, it looks a little bit more, from what I could see on the screen and from what you described, maybe that, I think it was about, I'd have to say 4 or 5 years ago, there was a Lego Worlds that came out that was...
Yes, that's more Minecraft, I want to say.
To a degree, yeah. But I don't know
Whereas
whether
this...
that sort of mold where it had less of a story and more emphasis on
Yes.
going around sort of solving the things and doing little quests and stuff like that.
Yeah, a better baby analogy would be Captain Toad. If you played much of that on the Switch, it's very Captain Toady. Would be a close analogy to it as well.
Oh, I love Captain Toad. So there you go.
Oh, this one might be you down to the ground then, mate.
Well, I might have to have a look because I when I saw you done the Let's Install, I did jump on some of the usual physical sites that I jump on, and I can't see a physical release on it, so I don't know whether it's
Oh, okay.
only digital at this stage. But I'll keep my eye on it. If it doesn't, I might just download just jump on and get the digital one. But
yeah,
I'm sure you know by now that's my least preferred option.
I'm well aware. Well aware. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't even seen much coverage of this game anywhere, which is surprising considering it is a Lego game and it's a top tier Lego game. I would assert, like it is in a different vein, but it's still up there as far as the Lego games are worth playing. So I'm not sure why this game hasn't even had the coverage. I would argue it deserves.
It's funny you say that because there was one that came out probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. Lego Brawl Hello, I think it's called.
Mm.
And I don't know the whole ins and outs of that, but I haven't seen any coverage of that one either. So I don't know what Normally they're pretty good with
marketing.
With their marketing side of things. So I don't know what's happened with these two. Whether they've just sort of been dropped into the ether and sort of hope for the best. But it sounds interesting enough to me, and even if I can't get the kids involved in it, I'll be a sucker for it anyway.
2 big thumbs up from me, mate, and the kids are a perfect excuse. Just tell me they played, even if they didn't. It's great. But that's it for Lego, Bricktales. I'm a big fan of it. Bully, I encourage you to get it. Viewers out there, if you're a Legoian, I don't know, Legoian, this one's for you. I reckon check it out. But game 3 this evening, over to you, Bully. It looks very Australian.
It is. Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, but this is a PS2 off the top of my head. Original release, and they've redone it for the PS4. So I've managed to...
And the Switch, I believe.
Can't tell you about the other ones, but I know I was again flicking through some of the brick and mortar retailers. They had a sale on.
Nice.
Got it for $20 odd. So I thought, why not? I don't have it. Jump into it.
Nice.
It's quirky. I don't know if you're not Australian. I don't think you'd really understand what the hell's going on because there is some strange references that you would and just the terminology in some of the language that if you're not Australian, you just be sitting there going, "What the hell are they talking
about?" I'd never even heard of this title until I grabbed this trailer today off YouTube, off Nintendo's YouTube channel. That's how I know it's out on the Switch. But I'd never even heard of the game. But then, to your point, mate, listening to this trailer was hilarious. I loved all the ochre in it. It was bloody terrific.
So I think I'm not sure if that's the same footage of the one I'm playing. I think that might be the Switch one, which is
number 4, I believe.
A little bit different. So this is just the one I've been playing is just a remake of the original, basically.
Yeah, right.
Basically a pseudo open world 3D platformer. Probably not up your alley, but it's a bit of fun. It's enjoyable, but at the end of the day, it suffers from. Look, it's not. It's basically just a port across. They haven't really improved anything. They've sort of. I think it's got a few HD graphical updates, but apart from that, it's basically just the exact same product that came out on the PS2.
Yeah,
and it feels like that. It's the platforming is a bit hit and miss. You'll fall off or not make jumps just for no reason. You'll go back and do the same thing with the exact same moveset, and you'll hit it next time.
Yeah.
I think it's just what it is for the age that it was produced in. But it's still a bit of fun. It's a bit of a collectathon. And, and I don't mind these sort of games just as a bit of a break in between. Some of the games that you can play are pretty heavy on narrative and pretty can take their toll emotionally. And I suppose it's the same as that Lego game. It's just a bit of a break from all that. You jump.
Yeah.
You just play around, a bit of collectathon. You don't really have to pay attention to what's going on, and you just have a bit of fun. And I've sort of found that over the last couple of days, jumping into it and enjoyed it. So if you haven't played it, if you're a 3D platformer fan, look, for the price that you can get it at now, as I said, about $20 odd, I think it's probably worth it at that price. You wouldn't want to be paying too much more than that. I wouldn't have thought, though.
That's a fair call, mate. As I said, I'd never heard of it until I saw this today. But having seen the trailer and hearing your description, mate, I would love it if they bring this one to the Xbox Series X so I can get my arcade stick. I reckon it looks like a lot of fun. And as I said, I absolutely love the Australianisms. And so sign me up for a re-release. I'm interested. I'm keen. Get me there. Game 4 this evening. Bully, can I get you over the line with some Deer Simulator? Before you answer, though, Bully, watch what happens here. You pull out the deer's neck. This is just on the main menu. And then what happens? Oh, he fell into the water. Now, if your game lets me enjoy the gameplay in the main menu, you are kicking all sorts of goals, I reckon. Now, look at this ridiculousness, Bully, and tell me you can't see having hours of fun with your kids here in this. I just love sitting on the couch with my boys, controller back and forth, ripping around the city as a deer. You put your arms out, you get the big unky arms on you, and you run and mow people down in the streets. You're picking up guns as the deer, and the antlers that get replaced with the guns you pick up. It's all kinds of crazy. And there's you can smash buildings, and then like out of the buildings comes like laser guns and stuff. You can drive cars. Check it out, Bully. You can do burnouts on the water. Have you ever seen burnouts on the water before? I didn't think so. Deer Simulator is a game for you. Look at it. Look at it, Bully. It's straight out of something from Roblox, isn't it? But I'm going to say, heck of a lot of fun. And what you're about to see that arena off in the distance there? On the right there. You're about to see that arena. We're going towards the big Asian tower here. We'll kick it down. We'll get our laser gun. Then we'll go over to the right. It's like a big, what do you call it? Coliseum. And it's the boss fight from what I can tell. Level 1, the first level of police response is sheep. And what you're about to see, here we go. So they're deploying the sheep because I've taken down a building. And then it's some one-on-one deer on sheep fighting action. And when you get up to round 5, knocking that building brings me up to round 5, which is what brings the boss to the Coliseum. Check out this laser gun I've got on my head now, Bully. Look at that. Tell me that is... There you go. Unky dunky arms go out, and you're and you got your laser head cannon on. This game is absolute ridiculous joy to be had. I tell you, Billy, there is hours of joy to be had here for little kids, but I don't think it's doing anything for you by the look on your face, mate. No sale?
Oh, I don't know where to start. Well, I do know where to start. Pulling the deer's neck out on the title screen reminds me of Mario, but just nowhere near as good. What it used to be able to do.
Fair enough.
And then everything after that, I just don't know what to say.
It's minute-to-minute gameplay fun here. Look at this. I'm about to throw a sheep at a boss. You have to check out the size of this boss. Now, the boss, because you've missed the opening cutscene, have a look. Oh, no, wait, he's about to show. Look here. He gets sheep for feet, and then the rabbit becomes his leg and his torso, and then the polar bears of the police become his arms. You're fighting what's that called? Power Rangers, like the big boss Power Ranger thing. Look at it! It comes together. Doggo! Doggo's the boss I cannot beat.
This could get any more bizarre.
It's like a Dark Souls boss or something, Bully. This is a shout out to all my Dark Souls fans out there. Go hands on with Dim Simulator? Deer Simulator? Dim Simulator sounds like something they just released on PlayStation for a cheap platinum. Deer Simulator is included in Xbox Game Pass, and for anyone who's a Soulsborne fan, tell me how to beat this boss, because I was looking through and I'm still not sure how to beat him. I think you shoot his feet and he falls over kind of like Shadow of the Colossus, but then you can't climb up his back. It's very confusing to me, but I think you've seen all that I can show you in Deer Simulator. Bully, I'm sensing no sale. Should we move on?
When you say that you've showed me everything there is to show, I think the title screen is better where you needed to show.
All right then, over to you, Billy, for Game 5 this evening. What is going on in the land of Browser's Fury, or is it airplane accompaniment Fury?
Oh well, it's Airport Fury. Look, just jumped into it. I don't really hear a lot spoken about this one. It came out probably a bit over 18 months ago, I think, that started last year, and it was an accompaniment to the redone version of Mario 3D World.
Mm-hmm.
That was originally a Wii U game, got re-released on the Switch. And
what, they weren't happy with the 10 sales they made of the Wii U?
What, everyone that bought a Wii bought it twice today? I actually did enjoy it on the Wii, and then when I heard it announced, he's sort of umming and ahhing about it, and then I saw the Bowser's Fury part, and I thought originally, that's just a little sort of gimmicky side thing to get Bowser up. It's actually quite a good side story, and it's not massive in length. Let's not beat around the bush, but it's got enough in there. The best way to put it is it's basically like a little one level chunk of Mario Odyssey, but probably a little bit bigger than his standard level there. There's plenty of stuff to do. There's plenty of your typical secrets and stuff to find.
Yeah.
And it's just a good little game to pass the time with. And I don't think it's really got a lot. It's not really spoken about. It doesn't, from what I've seen, hasn't got a lot of praise since it was released. But certainly, if you haven't jumped into either of those games, it's a great little package that it's put together. And I sort of look at that and think, that came out. What are we talking? 4 years after Mario Odyssey came out, and I almost just sort of look at that and think, well, could we have better spent the time releasing a Mario Odyssey 2 or making this into a full size Mario game, because the bones are all there. Mario's. I can't really recall off the top of my head any of the mainline Mario games that are of poor quality, and it's
no, none. I don't think one exists.
Yeah, so I mean the bones of it are all certainly there, and once you've sort of got into a little bit, I can't see why they haven't expanded it out and made it sort of a 15-20 hour sort of experience that you could have sold on its own for full price, and people would have, let's be honest, they would have lapped it up, and it probably would have sold more than anything on the Wii U did. So,
is there any indication? Do we know Microsoft has Nintendo stated the next Mario is coming out when? Do we have an expectation?
I don't think there is, but I know there's been talk about a Mario Odyssey 2. What that release date looks like, I don't know. I'd assume just based on sort of past experience that they'd get Zelda out the door. We're sort of looking at that May next year.
Yeah.
Once that's out, I would hope that in the next sort of 12 to 18 months you'd have the next mainline Mario game out. But who knows?
Yeah.
Nintendo,
Oh, they run their own game over there. That's for sure.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah, who knows? They could very well release 3 other spin-offs before we get another proper mainline 3D style game. That's
true.
So, wait and see, I guess.
Yes, indeed. But I loved Bowser Fury 2 Point. I have played it. My son's got it. It's great couch co-op. And is it the first or second level with the tilting mushroom tops that have absolutely kicked my teeth in?
I can't remember now.
Very early on, there's one with tilting mushrooms, and no, it doesn't work well with me. But that will bring us to the overtime. From my side, I can just say I'm still playing Battlefield 2042. I'm playing it daily at this point just to get the 10,000 XP Battle Pass crunchage for your first online game of the day. But also, they just dropped 2 days ago, I believe it was on the 11th, and I think it's the 11th through to the 20th. Something like that. They've got a limited time event on, and I'm blanking on the name, but there's what is it, like the Flatliners or Field Runners, or I'm pretty sure it starts with F. Finishers, maybe. Anyway, and there's a bunch of cosmetics. Bully, it's not in the news. I didn't bother putting it in the news because of slander against a game I'm enjoying far too much at the minute, being Battlefield 2042. But have you seen the controversy online, Bully? People very upset about this limited time event. There's 5 operator outfits to unlock, and only 1 can be unlocked for free. The other 4 all have to be paid for in store, and people are not happy about that choice.
Well, no, I haven't seen it. If that was Call of Duty, I'd go, yep, get it, no worries. Battlefield, any of the previous versions, I probably would have gone, yeah, no worries, I'll get it. I just think with the ill will that they've had, we're almost 12 months down the track, and I know it's corrected itself, and they've put the time and the effort into fixing it. But
it's such a good game now, Bully. It's so good.
I know, but just the state it was released in, I would have thought that they wouldn't be pulling this sort of stuff 12 months down the track, just sort of giving out a bit of goodwill to the punters that have stuck with the game for so long.
Yeah.
Put out 5 of them, make 3 of them. Or 4 of them free, and if you want the last one, pay for it.
I think that would have been a far more palatable way they could have gone about it, mate. I agree. But I'm pretty sure I read between the lines on their tweets, and I'm pretty sure their thank you to the players that stuck with them is just be grateful the servers are still turned on. So that's our thank you from the developers. But that's it for my overtime. A lot of Battlefield action on these 2 thumbs. How about you, Billy?
We know what they did to Anthem, so...
Great point, mate. What have you been spending your overtime with, sir?
Oh, look, I've just... I keep going with the Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I've been putting a bit of time into that. I still love it. It's just one of those ones that you can jump into for a couple of hours every week.
Oh, yes.
Things here and there. And that's what I'll sort of treat it as, rather than I'm going to sit here...
plow through it.
Yeah, and sort of get burnt out over a 2 or 3 week period. So
fair enough.
Sort of put a couple of hours into it every week, and then I'll just keep going on with some of the other stuff I've been playing. And I've also just jumped in the last sort of day or two the reboot of Tomb Raider. So the one that came out on the PS4 and the Xbox One, sort of that
This is the recent trilogy?
Yeah. So,
and then is it number 3 of the recent trilogy?
No, it's the original one of the original trilogy. I managed to...
Oh, okay, I'm with you. Yes.
Yeah, so I managed to get my hands on the definitive edition.
Right.
An Xbox One release that's
yep.
I think it's got all the DLC and that sort of stuff on it. Really enjoying it. I forgot how good it was. I know it's not quite up to the standard of Uncharted, but it's not far behind.
I agree completely. Really nipping on the heels of Nathan Drake. Yep.
And it sort of scratches that little bit of an itch. I know Unky's a massive fan of Uncharted, as am I.
Yep.
And I couldn't tell you the amount of times I finished them, and it's just in lieu of getting anything more out of Naughty Dog in that line, which I can't see coming anytime soon. It's good to just go back and play those reboot trilogy of Lara Croft, because, as I said, I don't think it's too far off the mark of Uncharted, and it's got a couple of little hiccups through it here and there, but overall, I think it's a pretty good package. You can pick them up
Yeah.
second for the price of a coffee. So if
Yeah.
you haven't jumped into them, I think it's well worth it. So they're sort of the two that I've been just jumping in and out of in the last week or so.
Beautiful work, mate. I love it. And yes, I second those comments. If you haven't played the original Tomb Raider, certainly, well, not the original of the trilogy, 2016, 2014, somewhere around there. I highly recommend it. But that brings us to the newsroom. You have the right to remain newsworthy. First up this evening from Games Radar, the Super Mario Brothers trailer is here, and I'm not going to hit roll on it because that'll get us a copyright strike. But, Bully, what were your thoughts? Did you like Chris Pratt's Mario?
I'll be honest. Being out of home for the last week, I have not managed to jump on and see it. So
very good.
like. I have seen a few screenshots of Mario's lack of a derriere.
Yes, Unky was all about it last week.
Which I think that if you're going to complain about something, really, is that what we're complaining about?
No, here's the real complaint. The real complaint from that picture, mate, is that the castle was just a little bit off center. They just needed to rotate the castle back to center. That was the real controversy on that. But I thought the Chris Pratt voice was perfectly serviceable. It was fine. It didn't blow my hair back. I wasn't underwhelmed. It was just what it needed to be doing. And I want to second the sentiments floating around online that Jack Black is doing a phenomenal job, though. He blew my hair back with Bowser. That's definitely the one to check it out for.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's one of the things, though. You've got to expect that if you're really looking at, and I can't remember the name of the bloke off the top of my head, but there's one bloke that's basically been voicing Mario in all the games for 25, 30 years. But it's your basic, what's he got, half a dozen lines?
Yeah, yep.
Really, because he's not a talking character in the game. So if you want to expand it out and have a movie, then clearly you can't just have and woo. You can't have an hour and a half of that. So
yeah,
you got to have someone speak. If you're going to have someone speak, they're not going to sound probably what you've got in your head. And it's one of those things, I guess. You just got to let it go. Wrap your head around the fact that someone's got to talk in it, and it is what it is, and just sit back and enjoy it. But from what I've seen, like compare that to the old Mario Bros with in the late 80s, early 90s that got released, and I think we're actually batting a ride on this one.
I think we're doing great. Animation has come so far. There's been so many good, feature-length animated films in the past 2-3 years, thanks to the lockdown. I reckon they've really sharpened their toolset. I'm nothing but excited for this Mario film. I think Chris Pratt's going to do just fine. I think Bowser's going to do fine. I think the whole thing looks great. 2 big thumbs up from me. The trailer did nothing but make me more excited for it. So I propose we move on to story 2. This one coming straight from Twitter at Sony Santa Monica, letting us know that they're announcing that God of War has gone gold finally, Bully. I will now move my markers over to you and Unky and agree with you that, I reckon this game's probably coming out this year now. Gone gold announcement. The only people who ever went back on that was CD Projekt Red, and I don't think Sony Santa Monica are going to repeat that error. So I'm going to go with it.
You don't think they're going to push the release date in another week or two?
I don't think they can. After announcing the Gone Gold, that's what I was waiting for. All the rest is marketing, but for me, you've put a flag in the ground. If you say it's Gone Gold and we're coming November 9th, at this point, I don't think, I now agree that they can't move the flags again. So, no, I think
most people knew that anyway, because you saw the amount of games away. They were going to drop that date. If it was coming with a sledgehammer or anything that was dropping around that date, is going to be absolutely blown off the park. Which talk about little old platform and mascots, and unfortunately for Sonic, who I think drops the same day or the day before.
No, didn't Sonic was the 12th, I think. 3 days later.
Oh, I thought it was the same day, but in any event, even if it's a day or two either side, you're gonna get blown out of the water. Let's be honest.
Yes, indeed. And sorry, mate. I will flick over to the next story if I can, and then just hand the reins over to you. I have actually, you know what? We're going to do an active reload. I've got an error here that I just can't clear. We'll be right back, folks. Sorry, active reload. If I can find the button. Whoa! I'm getting audio from somewhere. We'll be right back. Here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Sorry, and now I realise that one's broken. So bear with me as we try and do this as quick as we can. Oh, God, this is going to be fierce. Hey, Bully, tell us a fun story for 3 seconds while I fix the layout here.
I will tell you a fun story about. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we, while you're fixing that up, we might jump into the chat.
Perfect. Good call, man.
We've got Sean Games, who's jumped in there and joined us. He's a bit sad that old Steve was off for tonight, old Unky Dunky, but I'm certainly hoping that last week he was putting the same thoughts in the chat when I wasn't here. Otherwise, I'll be very disappointed, Sean. But he does have a couple of points about Overwatch 2, so he's... I assume, Sean, that you put a bit of time into it. So he said his good tip is to find a character that's play style. And he's also provided, if anyone who wants to jump into the chat that is having some issues with their character selection or jumping into it or what have you, he's dumped a website in there for you that lists some go-to characters for the novice Overwatch player out there. So hopefully that'll give some of our viewers a bit of a hand.
Perfect.
Seeing as I can't.
Good work, Bully. Thanks, mate. I've fixed it as best I can. When we jump off this scene, it might go sideways. But for now, we're back to the news segment. Story 3 this evening. Microsoft reveals how much money Game Pass actually makes. Now, this one I had been so fascinated on the whole time. I've been waiting and waiting, but it's this graph here that we're looking for. If it's going to come up. Okay, subscriber growth. So we can see here over, call it 2 years, that they've gone from 10 million subscribers to 25 million subscribers. Fair bit of improved growth there. But this is the key one here, Bully, and I hope that's on screen for you. I think it is. You can see that they're games and services. So what you're looking at here, the entire thing is Microsoft's reporting. So both columns, the right-hand column, total Xbox revenue. The left-hand column is what they make from selling games and their online services model. The key point there is, what's that? $2.9 billion. That's right, $2.9 billion from Game Pass in 2021. How mind-blowing is that, Bully?
Well, that's pretty good. My question to you, though, is that is their revenue. What's their expenditure?
I'm sorry they haven't shared that data with us, Bully. I can't tell you. I'll wild guess it and call it $6 billion.
That's always the thing, is that you can say, yes, we're improving on our subscribers, which is, in a space of 2 years to go from 10 to 25 million. That's fantastic.
Yep.
And kudos to them. I think the quality of what they're putting out there is fantastic.
Yes.
But it's just that, is how much is it costing them to get these exclusives? Now, take out Xbox first party stuff, but to get, third party or, stuff like that, to get that onto their system, what are they paying for that? That's the interesting part. And the other part is, obviously, you've got to factor in as well that they've outlaid, and I can't remember off the top of my head what the expenditure was for ZeniMax Studios, which obviously includes, am I having a mental blank? The Fallout 76 and Fallout franchises and Skyrim, Elder Scrolls franchises that they bought a while ago. There's outlay with that we're all aware of the 60+ billion that they're in the process of acquiring Activision Blizzard for. So there's significant outlays there, and good luck to them. That we're talking about a massive amount of money that they're bringing in 12 months, that 2.9 billion. But what's the expenditure to get to that point? That's my question, I suppose.
Yeah. Excellent question, mate. Unfortunately, we don't have that data, but I like the points you're raising. I'm going to shut this tab in the hope that kills the background music. Nope, it doesn't. We'll move on to the next story. Hopefully soon we'll kill this background music. It's killing me. All right, the next story is from Multiplayer First, letting us know that Ark Survival Evolved was brought to both services. Sony paid $3.5 million. Microsoft only paid $2.5 million. I believe Microsoft for about a year before. I think Microsoft had it for a year inside Game Pass before PlayStation got it, so maybe that extra year had something to do with it. But bully, fascinating to find out just one little old title on Game Pass can be, $2.5 million. I think that shines a new light on things.
Well, I mean, and that's for mine. Ark isn't really a massive game. Yes, it's got its fan base, but it's not something that I would, in my opinion, be generating a lot of money or a lot of interest anyway. So, if you're looking at any one time, they've got rounded out to be about 100 games on Game Pass. If they're paying 2.5 million for each one of those games, which translates to 250, if they were paying that and then generating 2.9 billion, you'd go fantastic result. The reality is that some of those higher tier games they're going to be paying into the tens of millions of dollars for, which jumps that price.
Yeah.
So, touching back on that last news story, but I think you take that with a grain of salt because they've got a good deal on that one. Have they got a good deal on some of the other ones that that are also upcoming, and the price and the money they're having to put it in their own studios, I guess.
Well, yeah, the big one to be, mate, I'd love to know stuff like Outriders. That was Square Enix, but it was a day one inclusion. Like, does the day one in Game Pass mean it goes from 2.5 million to maybe 25 million? I had no idea. But that day one inclusion's got to be worth something, but I am shocked by these prices. The last two stories combined, I think, paint a very interesting picture as to Xbox. And for my money, they are in a better position than I thought they were. They're generating more off it than I thought they would. But 2.5 million for Ark Survival Evolved, I'm surprised that was the benchmark there. That's more than I thought you'd pay for a game of that caliber, not being a day one inclusion, that sort of stuff. So, to your point, Bully, I think there's a lot of headroom there. Microsoft must be paying a lot more for a lot of those titles that we don't unfortunately have the data on yet. But fascinating story nonetheless. Unless you had any points on this one, mate, I'll close it in the hope that this is the mystery tab causing my audio issues.
No, good, jump through.
All right, shutting that one. Audio issues persist. All right, next story, it's the GameSpot. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 will require phone number verification, and I hope it comes with a flight bags because I'm pretty sure it's going to make a lot of people vomit. Bully, are you checking a phone for two-factor authentication before you jump online in your first-person shooters, do you think?
Oh, look, I'll be honest, I'm not a massive fan of it, but I can see the issue that Activision are going to be having going, or if they haven't had it already, it just hasn't been reported heavily, is people hijacking other people's accounts, because the reality is we're not just running it through PlayStation or Xbox anymore. It's being run through most of these companies. Activision, I know Ubisoft have got it. Blizzard, I know you had to sign up when you jumped into Overwatch. You had to sign up into their own ecosystem. So I think it's just a matter of making sure that there's some sort of security around Activision's internal processes, and that people aren't getting a hold of other people's logins and jumping in and either stealing their stuff or hijacking their accounts and stealing their accounts and then on selling them. So am I the biggest fan in the world of it? No. Do I think it is something that needs to happen? I think so, and the reality is you might not be happy with it, but it's there to help you at the end of the day.
I think
maintain the validity of your account. So
I hear what you're saying, mate, but I think asking for them to store my phone number is a bridge too far. How many data breaches have we seen lately? Like Square Enix, I think in the last week, Square Enix are sending out emails. Oh, sorry, they might have got hold of your, gamer tags and your phone numbers and your emails. Sorry, how bad. Like, I just don't need my data getting out there anymore. I fully support the use of, for me, I use the Google Authenticator, but use whatever authenticator app you want. If they want to do a two-factor authentication through Google Authenticator where I don't have to hand them my phone number, then okay, I can play. But if you want my phone number just so you can data leak it later and I can get even more spam calls every day in Australia, Telstra get on top of it. Like, I just don't need any more nonsense with my phone number. I think it's just in the wrong direction. I think An online browser-based authenticator would be the way to go here, and then I fully support their efforts. But trying to get my phone number in another breach, no thanks. Pass from me.
Yeah, and I can see your side of it as well. You know, if we're looking at it purely from a gamer's perspective of, do I want to keep my stuff and have no one steal it? Yep, no worries. But then exactly what you say, that there's companies time and time again that are being being hacked and data leaked um, around the globe. Um, it's not any one company. It's not any one country. It's across the
Yep.
globe. It happens to
Yep.
everyone. And I guess the reality is, at some point, is your data going to get leaked? Yes, I get that. But then by the same token, you know, where does it? I sort of look at it and go, well, where does it stop? Because you go, well, I've got to provide my phone number to various government agencies, and I've got to provide it to, you know, different services and all the rest of it. That, you know, how do we know what their security is like in terms of holding our data? So,
Mm.
100% see where you're coming from. I sort of look at it the other way. As much as I hate the spam calls and all the rest of it, I'm with you on that. I sort of just look at it and go, look, it's unfortunately, both sides of that coin are just part of the world we live in at the moment.
That's very true. I agree with your points, mate. Yeah.
I can't see any way around either side of it. In an ideal world, would we need it? No. In an ideal world, would companies be getting their data leaked on an almost weekly basis? No.
Yeah.
I don't know how you resolve that, but I guess there's a couple of nuisance calls. Playing the devil's advocate, is a couple of nuisance calls on your phone worse than having your Activision account hacked and all your paid for battle pass and
You're right, mate. If they were the only two options, I agree with you, and the phone number would be the way to go. But I reckon, honestly, there's about 100 options in the middle. One of which is using a standard two-factor authentication via Google Authenticator. I think that is as equally as secure, but it removes the risk of more data breaches and shit. Because data breach and authenticator fob, you've got nothing. You know, you've got a bunch of random characters, and good luck to you. It won't do anything for you. So it's perfect in that sense. It protects my phone number because I don't have to give it to them, but it still verifies that I'm me. So I think that's the middle ground. The other end of the way could go, Bully. How do you feel about a DualSense or a Xbox Elite Series 2 controller with a fingerprint reader on the back, and you could fingerprint your way into every game?
well, I suppose he's at the next level. I mean,
I reckon it is.
but then where do you? I suppose you again playing the devil's advocate. Who stores that fingerprint? Where is it stored?
Yeah, you're right, mate. We're just going round in circles at this point.
Who's to say that that's my fingerprint that's on your system that can log into this account? Like who's verifying that? Who's taking the
Very true. Very true, mate. Very
all
true.
that sort of stuff? So I think, yeah, I agree that there is some middle ground. Is any of it ideal? No. Would as I said, in a perfect world, you'd just be able to jump on and play it, and we wouldn't have any of these issues.
Yeah,
But unfortunately, there's morons out there that take delight in doing this, and
that's true.
it's the world we live in, unfortunately.
Indeed. All right, that'll be it for that one. Hopefully, this tab kills the background jungle tunes. No, it doesn't. I've still got birds tweeting and a nice gentle drum bongo thing going on, in case you're wondering. All right, the final story for this evening is from PlayStation. It's from Press Start Australia, and they are letting us know the PlayStation Stars has officially launched in Australia. And here's how it works. I'm glad the article tells me because I'm yet to see any of it. But Bully, I understand you've already unlocked something. You're already a PlayStation star.
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty straightforward. If you have the PS app on your phone or your tablet or whatever, log into that. It comes up with a couple of prompt screens. It signs you up automatically for it as part of your username and that sort of stuff. So it ties in with everything else. And there's basically, it's similar to, for those that have seen the Xbox version, which is fairly similar. It gives you a little, I guess, quests to follow. So the couple that I've unlocked today is play a game, and that unlocks 2 different things for you. So you get your little trophy to put in your cabinet, which you can see up on the screen there. But there's some other things as well in there that are
exist, mate. Is that
sorry, what was that?
PlayStation?
Oh, sorry, it's just dropping out a little bit there.
Sorry, mate. I was just asking where you said that. Yeah, no, I've got it this end as well, mate. I was just asking where those get displayed. Like, do you have to be within an app on the PlayStation 5, or is it on the dashboard?
So when you
the unlocks.
Yeah, so when you're signing up for it, I haven't looked into how it's actually displayed, but you can choose between having anyone in the PlayStation ecosystem be able to view that stuff, or whether it's just your friends that you've already got on PlayStation Network that can see them. So there's obviously a way that you can search through for people and see what they've got and what they're displaying and all that sort of stuff. So, it's a little bit of something extra. And as I was saying as well, they've got game-specific ones in there. So there was one that I saw before that was talking about fighting games, and it says play one of, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, etc., etc. That unlocks something as well. And I think the other part to it is if you're buying digital games, then you get star points that you can use them to get discounts on more purchases. If you get rare trophy unlocks, so if you get a platinum in a game that's qualified as rare, it'll give you a certain amount of star points that you can then use to go towards digital purchases and that sort of stuff.
Do you know if any of it's retroactive? Can any previous platinums or anything I've got count toward it?
Doesn't look like it, no. From the quick look I've had it doesn't. It's basically from now going forward as to whatever you have, or whatever you obtain from now on. It doesn't look to be retroactive, which is probably, I suppose that's one of the things is how do you quantify going backwards and how far you go? Like, because we're talking about trophies that have been in existence for 14, 15 years now.
Well, that's a great point. Yeah.
How do you sort of quantify that? And at this point, PS3s and Vitas have been hacked, and is the trophy system really up to the scratch that it should be? Not sure. Sony know better than you or I do, but I'm not sure how that'd sort of work. But certainly going forward, anything that you sort of do, I don't think you get points for everything. Like you get your first achievement in the new game that you're playing. You're not going to get star points for that, but certainly if you're getting the golds and the platinums, you'll certainly start earning points. So the reality is it's a free thing. You jump into it, you earn your points. If you don't really want to partake in it, don't partake in it. It's not forcing you to do it, but it's a little something that you can get extra just from playing games that you're going to play anyway. So
Yeah. Well, I'm actually reminded of, I know someone who's got an Xbox who never has opted into the Xbox Game Pass rewards program. They paid for their Xbox, they paid for their Game Pass subscription, and they just haven't opted into the service. And I had a look, and they had a bunch of questions turned in. I'm like, if you just signed up now, you could get another month free with all the stuff you've already unlocked just sitting there to be turned in. So if you're on Xbox and you haven't signed up for their system already, you should absolutely, because I haven't jumped into this system yet, but I'm hopeful that I'll be able to pay. Like, my Game Pass Ultimate now pays for itself just by unlocking those quests each month and turning it back into another month worth of Game Pass Ultimate. So that's working beautifully on Xbox. Hopefully PlayStation Stars will give us a discount on that front as well. Could be very cool.
Yeah.
Any other points from you, mate, or I'll shut this tab and hope it cleans up my audio?
Shut that one and see how we go. But as I said, it's free. It gives you something just from playing stuff you're going to play anyway. So I reckon well worth at least having a look at.
Perfect, mate. I love it. Now, game releases coming out this week. Now, Bully, I'll take the reins here and drive on through, but please, mate, interrupt if you've got anything. Otherwise, this is going to be a lightning round. But standing by for you to interrupt at any moment, go right ahead. All right, this week's games, as brought to us by GameInformer.com, noting, of course, it's Thursday now, so a lot of these have already come to pass. Asturgos, Curse of the Stars, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, PC, was out October 11th. Also October 11th, Evilly, Xbox Series XS, Xbox One and PC. I'm sure that one's in Game Pass. I saw that there, but haven't played it. In Sound Mind came to Switch also October 11th. No More Heroes 3 on October 11th came to the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and X, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. That was No More Heroes 3. The interesting part there is it's the Switch cover, and it didn't come out on the Switch on that day. Make of that what you will. Then, of course, Lego, Bricktales. That's the one we were talking about earlier. I recommend it. 2 thumbs up from me. Came out October 12th. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XX, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. That one came out damn near everywhere. And then Fueled Up October 13th. Hey, that's today, I think. Coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and X, PS4, Xbox One, and PC is Fueled Up. Now, I don't know. Was this one in Game Pass, Bully? Maybe. I'm not sure on that one.
Fueled Up, I don't think so off the top of my head.
All right, no worries. Then the next one is the Eternal Cylinder coming to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. The one thing I'll say about the Eternal Cylinder is I played the beta of this. It feels like it was a year ago, so maybe 8 months ago I played the beta, and it was just a phenomenally interesting game. It's like it's an art house project. It's set on another planet. You're a little alien guy there. You can see him on the front cover. It's a weird, like 3D environmental puzzler. But I highly enjoyed my time with it. I don't know if this is coming to Game Pass. If it is, I'm going to jump straight on it, though. Bully, any thoughts on that one?
No, I haven't seen anything about it. Not sure that I'll
Nope.
see it on the upcoming Game Pass either.
No worries at all, thank you. Then we have the last, pick a word there, Okura? No idea. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PC, that one's October 13th. Triangle Strategy coming to PC on October 13th. Dragon Ball Breakers coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, October 14th. NHL 23 coming out every October 14th. Nickelodeon Kart Races, October 14th. PGA 2K23 coming out everywhere on the 14th. And then Scorn, that one's definitely coming to Game Pass, but also Xbox XX and One and the PC. That one's October 14th. And I'm going to end this segment there just because this audio is killing me. And my gosh, I have got to kill this sound. I don't know where it's coming from. Allow me to dig in and try and find it. If I kill this, I'm hopeful if I kill that, no, I've still got the audio issue and absolutely nothing is open. That's unfortunate. The last one is to shut his Zencaster. I'm not going to do that because then I'll lose Bully. All right, that's the end of the news, which I think brings us to the standoff, Bully. Is it the standoff time?
It is time for the standoff.
Standoff!
Who will fight?
All right, this week's standoff. Bully, please tell us the rules of the constraints for this week's standoff.
Yeah, so as we discussed with God of War, the Ragnarok going gold and hopefully still coming out in about 3.5 weeks' time. I know, Troy, you've got your fingers crossed that it's going to get pushed next year to win that bet, but...
No, I've conceded defeat on that one. It's definitely coming out this year. Sorry, mate, keep going.
But what is the best PS5 exclusive game, and not ones that have an update for the PS5? It must be a PS5 exclusive.
Indeed. So, with that said, game one, nomination one, entry one of the standoff this week is Uncharted. Bully, tell us things.
Well, Uncharted Legacy Collection. So, for those that have seen, there was a PS4 version that had 1, 2, and 3 released about 7 years ago off the top of my head. So this one is a PS5 update of the Uncharted 4 and also the Lost Legacy, which was originally mooted as a DLC for number 4, but turned into its own standalone game, I should say. Both fantastic. Number 4 wraps up the Nathan Drake sort of story in a nice little bow, and the Lost Legacy is a great little side one that doesn't have Nathan Drake in it. It's got a couple of the other side characters in it, but equally as good in terms of the gameplay and the set pieces and the action. Fantastic. From what I've seen, it's gotten down in price fairly quickly, so you're getting 2 fantastic games for the price of one, basically at a good price. And If you haven't jumped into it, I know I've played both of them previously, and even then went out and got the PS5 version. That's how much fun I've had with them. So definitely well worth a crack if you haven't.
Indeed, that is good. And sorry, Billy, I've been fighting this audio and I still can't clean it up. This might be the world's quickest standoff because I really am struggling to hear you now over the other audio that's impeding my eardrums. But Demon Souls, Billy, Demon Souls.
Demon Souls. So the Demon Souls, the original one was a PS3 release. Comes out some 12 years later. It gets re-released on the launch of the PS5. Visually, absolutely stunning. The gameplay holds up from the 2009 release, and in terms of a showcase for the PS5 release, I don't think you could have got a better example from Bluepoint Games when they put this out. It is absolutely a graphical masterpiece, and we're still looking at 2 years down the track, and you'd be hard pressed to find a PS5 game that's come out that looks as good as this one. Absolutely fantastic.
I agree completely. That'll bring us to number 3, which is, of course, Horizon Forbidden West, Billy.
So, Horizon Forbidden West. I know that it's fallen into that trap again of just bad timing with the release date, but it is again fantastic game, visually impressive. The fights against the I don't know what you want to call them, robot dinosaurs, but the enemies that are in this game, it's absolutely stunning. Some of the fights you have against them, the environments that you play through. And the breadth of environments too. You sort of start off up in the hills, and then you work your way across, almost like the plains and Nevada, desert style area, and then to the forests, and finally to the ocean. And just the breadth of environments that you sort of work through. The story, I know some people have been a little bit critical of it. I thought it was a fantastic storyline. I loved every minute with it, to the point where I basically powered through it and platinumed that before I really got into playing Elden Ring, and probably put Elden Ring back a couple of weeks because I was having so much fun with this.
Fair enough, man. I know you were a lot bigger fan of this story than I was. That is for sure. But to your point, a lot of people out there were big fans of it and liked it as well. Just didn't do it particularly for this guy, but an excellent game nonetheless. All right, game 4 this evening, Billy, is what? The Last of Us Part 1.
Well, I'll try and channel my inner Unky here, but The Last of Us Part 1, I still haven't played it. I'm not going out and paying the asking price on this one. It's in my mind ridiculous, but
fair enough, and I agree.
Obviously, a massive graphical overhaul from the original. Even probably better than The Last of Us 2 that came out 2 years ago now, 2.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Looks graphically stunning. Again, looks fantastic. They've tweaked some of the gameplay elements to include more of the second one's gameplay into this one. If you've never played it before, by all means, jump into it. Fantastic game, and you're getting the best version of it. I'll just sit here cynically saying, do we need it? I know Unky says we do. I don't think so for the price. And in lieu of getting off topic, but it's starting to set a bad trend. So,
oh yes,
I don't know. I don't know. I suppose we'll get to it at the end, but I'm not sure how I'd rate this overall in terms of PS5 exclusives, knowing that it's come and gone on the PS3 and the PS4.
yeah, no, I hear you there, mate. It's on the list, but I'm not sure it's going to be our winner. Sorry, Unky, you needed to be here if you wanted to fight harder for it. All right, game 5 is Returnal.
Well, Returnal, housemark game, a very big departure from what they normally sort of done, but they've gone to the third-person sort of shooter stuff, but keeping the elements of their top-down sort of thing that they've had in the past. I know you, Troy, have put in a massive amount of time, so you could probably speak to it a bit more. But again, it's graphically fantastic. The effects that are going on while you're playing it and shooting at the enemies, and they're shooting back and all that sort of stuff. The graphical effects look fantastic. The gameplay, probably not quite up my alley, and that's why I probably didn't put a lot of time into it. But can certainly see that those that have enjoyed it, why they enjoyed it. Probably just not for me, but I know you've put a fair bit of a whack of time into it.
I have, mate. I've almost put as much time into this as I have Goat Simulator. They're both up their top tier games. No, but seriously though, Returnal won Geek Aloud's Game of the Year last year for very good reason. Unky and I both played them and huge fans of it. 2 weeks ago, second everything Bully said. Looks fantastic. I know it's not Bully's gameplay. It is my gameplay. So minute-to-minute gameplay, 2 big thumbs up from me. I think I was died damn near 700 times getting the platinum on this one. Heck of a game. I absolutely love it. 2 big thumbs up for me on Returnal. Game 6, though, is Sifu.
Sifu. Again, I know it's probably a bit of a shame that Unky's not actually here. I know he absolutely loved this one. Hard as nails.
Oh, yes. Until they patched in easy mode.
I still haven't gone back and played the easy mode, but if you've ever played any of the Soulsborne games and think they're not up your alley because they're too hard, well, have a look at this. This is on another level.
Yep.
It's basically a brawler is probably the best way to put it, but you've got enemies coming at you from all angles, and you've got to really have that that button pressing to a T to get your get your combos in to start with, and then B, counteract.
Yes.
And that's really the key to the game, is getting the the blocking and the counteracting in when the enemies are getting. If you can get that down pat, then you'll have a good time. But I just sort of struggled with it a little bit and found it extremely hard because of that. Graphical style, it's almost that sort of cell shaded type.
Yeah. Yep.
Graphical styling, and again, looks really good, and it's funny when you play games that have had that cell shading from previous generations. They still hold up today, so I think it's something that you probably look in another 10 or 15 years you look back at it, and some of the games that we're playing now where the realistic graphics might not look so good, this one will, because it looks good now, and it's got that sort of style that's going to hold up.
I agree. I loved it. Tough as nails, as you said, mate. But very good game. Very enjoyable. Game 7?
Astro's Playroom. So this is, if you manage to get yourself a PS5, this was pre-installed into it. So you get it for free, basically, on the PS5. I thought it was one of the most...
Wait, they didn't charge $129.95 for it? Mark Cerny must... No, not Mark Cerny. Who's running the house at the minute? The one who went to Brussels, crying, Jim, whatever his name is.
Ryan.
Jim Ryan!
Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan. He didn't have his hands on it. He wouldn't have allowed this game out for free, that's for sure.
Hell no. But it's, it's pretty short. It's probably, I don't know, what is it, for maybe 4 or 5 hours long. But cool little 3D platformer, and it is...
it's so good, I even finished it, Bullet.
Well, there you go. And that's saying something for a platform. But it is an absolute love letter to PlayStation's history. It's got little Easter eggs. It's got, trophies that you can find, and I'll use the term trophies as in-game items.
Physical objects in the world, yep.
That you can find within the game that hark back to all the, the old PlayStation consoles, the different peripherals and controllers, and
yeah, everything. Memory cards, controller cables, the laser guns, everything's in there. It's awesome.
And if you've been a PlayStation fan since the get-go, it's a fantastic nostalgia trip. And beyond all that, it is actually a really good game, and it showcases the DualSense controller like I don't think I've actually seen since. I still remember the feeling of one of the levels that it starts raining, and it feels like you can feel the individual raindrops coming through the DualSense controller. It is unbelievable, and unfortunately, I don't think I've, and you might have experienced something otherwise, but I don't think I've experienced anything like it
No, Returnal lifted the rein beautifully, but you're right, they did it first. And I haven't gone hands-on with it yet, but Unky Dunky tells me that the giraffe petting feel in the DualSense 5 is something to be held. I think that's the only one I've noticed since that anyone's banged on about the controller, really, is Unky Dunky and the giraffe petting in Last of Us Part 1. Worth, apparently, $130.
Well, if you're going to pet giraffes and it's going to feel like it's your controller, I don't know. Good luck to you.
All right, game 8 this evening. Unky, you should be here defending yourself, my friend. Ratchet and Clank are ripped apart. Bully, what do you got for us?
Well, he's not, so I'm going to take cheap shots. Ratchet ripped apart. Graphically fantastic, gameplay-wise fantastic. I think.
Bit short?
Not well, a little bit. I thought it was a good length because I actually don't mind those games that don't overstay their welcome and just drag on for the sake of dragging on. I actually really enjoyed the length of it.
I could have done with one more world, but sorry, mate, back to you.
No, I was just going to say that my only thing is with it, and I know the big selling point was flipping from world to world through this little rift and going from one thing to the next and one thing to the next. And when you're looking at the gameplay trailers and the review trailers and that sort of stuff, you're looking at it going, oh, this is amazing, this is fantastic. You can just pick whichever world you want to go to and jump to it automatically, and that's showing the incredible skill or the power, I should say, that the PS5 has. The reality of it is, when you play it, they're set levels.
Yeah. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Exactly. You may as well be jumping from, one box to another, because that's essentially all it is. The only thing is they've created this little rift thing that you're going through.
Yeah.
It doesn't. You can't just pick where you want to go and go to it.
Yes. Predetermined, preset. Yeah. They just switch out the character asset. Correct.
But
we were lied to through marketing. I can't believe it.
No. No man's sky. What have you done? But having said all that, it's a fantastic little game. It looks incredible. It plays really well. It's one of those things that's got the humour in it.
Yeah.
And it's a great little enjoyable game. It's good for young kids to be able to play. It's not that difficult that they can't get into it. It's not something that they couldn't play. And equally for a more experienced gamer, it's a fantastic little game to get into. And as I said, it's not an overly long game, admittedly, but for what it gives you, I think it's well worth having a crack at.
I absolutely love the game, mate. Second all your thoughts there. A truly enjoyable game, that one. I'm a big fan of that exclusive. All right, number 9 this week, Ghost of Tsushima. Who doesn't love some samurai action? We love it so much, we honour it here each and every week with the Standoff, of course.
So obviously we've got the director's cut was a PS5 version, which has got the DLC and stuff in it. But Platinum this originally when it came out on the PS4. It is absolutely amazing. I don't think that. I'm just trying to recall back to when it was released. There was a little bit of hype for it, but I don't think at the same time it was coming out about the same time as The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
And I think there was a few question marks over, could it really be as good as what we've led to believe it is? It was that and more. It was absolutely amazing open world game.
Yep.
The landscape and the setting, and again we talk about the different environments that you can go through. You go, from set across a couple of islands. It's in the southern part of it, it's open forest areas and fields and beaches, and then you go to the north and it's snowy hills and all that sort of stuff. Absolutely amazing. And in terms of gameplay, it's something that, whilst it takes elements from a lot of sort of third-person action games, it's not something that we've really seen all put together before. Whereas a lot of third-person action games, they tend to sort of almost carbon copy each other. And we were talking about it before with Uncharted and Tomb Raider and that sort of stuff. They sort of copy each other to a point where they're almost indistinguishable sometimes. This is just completely different.
Yeah.
And absolutely looks, again, absolutely stunning, and even better on the PS5.
And big shout out to their navigation system, which was unique. It was the first one to do the whole in-world, we're just going to blow leaves in the direction you should go. Absolutely fantastic. Phenomenal. I loved it. But once again, second all your thoughts, Billy. Fantastic game. 2 big thumbs up from this side of the couch. Standoff entry 10 this week.
Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I think the PS5 version is called Intergrade.
Yes, which includes the Yuffie DLC.
Yep, absolutely massive Final Fantasy fan, and the only criticism I've got of this game is that I'm still waiting for parts 2 and 3. Absolutely amazing game. They've switched up the formula from turn-based RPG to action, and it's done it no harm whatsoever. It's made it, in my opinion, even better. Graphically, again, absolutely stunning. I think this is one of the games that my wife, who's not a gamer, walked in and said, and just looked at it and said, "Oh, what movie are you watching?" I said, "It's not a movie." And she's like, "Oh my lord, is that what they look like now?"
Yeah, yep.
And she was just blown away with how it looked, and as I said, absolutely amazing. The story, I think, if you play the original, you sort of know what's going on, and I just can't wait for the next couple that then expand out into that open world, because what we went through with Midgard is, a fairly condensed area. There's some sort of pseudo open world bits, but for the most part, it's fairly condensed. I'm just looking forward to getting into the open world segments and seeing more of it.
Yeah, and it'll be great. I like it. This is not my favourite so far, but I know for you it's right up there. One of the huge ones. The 11th and final entry this week is which?
So we've got, it's a bit of a combo. So Miles Morales, Spider-Man Miles Morales, that got released at the PS5 release. But for those that bought it on the PS5, you also got the remastered version of the Spider-Man that was on the PS4 as well.
Yes.
And again, this is, I don't think we've seen, I know we've had the Spider-Man from a couple of years ago, but you package them together, and we have never seen a Spider-Man game like this. I don't think we've seen a action hero game or superhero game quite like this, in the way that you traverse the world and that you get around, and swinging around New York City is just an absolute blast. And they've got little challenges with your movement and stuff like that just sort of adds to it. The story's fantastic, even if I'm not a massive Spider-Man fan. I'm more of a Batman person, but even saying that, the story is compelling. It drags you in both the stories in both the games. Graphically, it looks fantastic. The fight scenes are amazing. There's probably just in Spider-Man itself, Miles Morales was a shorter version, but in Spider-Man itself, there was a couple of the side quests and that sort of stuff that probably dragged on, in my opinion, a little too long, and you didn't really know those. But the main story in both the games was absolutely fantastic, and it was almost one of those ones that if you have any passing interest in Spider-Man whatsoever, you'll sit there and play it, and you won't put it down until you finish the story.
Yeah, you're right, mate. Solid entries, both of those. Oh, I'd forgotten how good Spider-Man was until you gave us that rundown. I was thinking I had my winner locked in, but now you've thrown me a little there. You could bend me that way. So I'll jump to it and say I was leaning towards Returnal myself. But you've put up a very strong argument there for Spider-Man. Which way are you leaning?
Oh, well, I think that's probably going to be the issue. I needed Unky to cast that tiebreaker vote. As I said, I can 100% see where you're coming from with Returnal.
I know, but it wasn't for you, so I can't make you go there.
Just not quite up my alley. Oh, look, to be honest, I'd almost be leaning, in terms of showcasing the PS5. I'd really be looking at Demon Souls, and just what they put out at release, the graphical capabilities that they were showing off that the PS5 had, taking a 12-year-old game and making it look like that on release. That for anyone that was, and I know that they're still in some places hard to come by, but if anybody was ever sitting on the fence of the PS5 and going, "Oh well, I've got my PS4. Well, what's the point?" Have one look at that, and you tell me that it's not worth it's not worth the upgrade. It just looks absolutely amazing. So that'd be probably my vote. But I reckon
I will meet you happily at Demon Souls, sir.
There you go. I was going to say we could almost come down into a middle point that we could both get to and jump on Spider-Man. But if you
I reckon to your point, Demon Souls does, I would argue, show off the PS5 better. In the confines of this, as you've just stated, yes, I think we can happily settle on Demon Souls. Our winner is you this week. So that brings us back to the final segment, which is audience interrogation and deliberation. Hopefully, there's been a few comments throughout the show, Bully. What has been happening in their YouTube chat, my friend?
Well, I sort of jumped around a little bit before when we were having those technical issues, but Sean Games has been in there. As I said, he's dropped in the chat the website for Overwatch newbies to go and have gives you a list of some of the best characters for newer players.
Perfect.
So he's also on board with you. He reckons Deer Simulator looks fantastic. It's making him laugh, and he's also excited for Goat Sim 3. So that's
excellent. I love it. Perfect.
Hey.
You and me, Sean, looking forward to that Goat Simulator 3. And that will do us for another episode of the Gaming Enforcement Agency. As I said, we recently passed the 1 year mark and are yet to celebrate. But as soon as we have all 3 panelists available, we will be doing some sort of anniversary type celebration. But that'll do it for this week. Bully, thank you very much for joining me, my friend.
Thank you very much. Have a good week. And I am off duty.
Oh, I'm off duty too. Thank you, everybody, for watching. It's been another episode of the Gaming Enforcement Agency. This will be back next Thursday night, 8 p.m. right here on Geek Aloud. Throughout the week, of course, there'll be more Let's Installs, so keep your eyes peeled. What can you do with Geek Aloud? Like it, subscribe it, you'll never miss it!
Oh, that was luck. Hey, that's something. Love everything about it. Ooh.
Players play.
Old Uncle Donkey. Gee, Donkey.